Hello, everyone. Wait for this to delay to go away. There we are. We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Musky Talk Mondays. Good news, bad news, good news. Good news. Let's start with the bad news. Brett Alexander will not be joining us today. I believe he is still out on the bay with Mike Keys. So we're going to have to postpone that interview. Sorry. So, good news. We got Matt from SB Fishing. We're going to be taking a different approach to interviewing. We're going to interview someone who's fairly recently new to musky fishing. And I want to get his perspective on musky fishing since he kind of went balls deep into it. And I didn't do that. I don't know other people who have an established YouTube channel that loves bass fishing, and then he's like, I'm going to musky fish. So I want to just get some perspective from that. More good news, we got Lee Tauchen still on for 7:30ish, and talk about Matt as a change, Lee lures, today's angler, all that stuff. So let's bring him on. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Colin, what's going on, man?
All right. So we got Matt from SB Fishing. If you guys didn't, you should check out the channel. Cool guy. And like I said, Bran, how long you been musky fishing for, Matt?
So I think the first trip I ever took was in late February. So
this year?
About 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 months. I've been 17 trips.
17?
17. I'm on number 17. Yep.
And how many you got so far?
3.
3. Nice. So that ain't bad.
3 musky.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so what state
The
are you
first
in?
10, I mean, I really have no idea. I'm in Virginia. I'm right outside of Washington, D.C., so they're definitely local area.
Okay. So SB Fishing TV, check it out on YouTube. Email. Give him some emails. Give him some tips. Give him some places to check out. Let him know he's up and coming into the musky scene. And I'm trying to get him into more of the musky scene because we need more videos.
Yeah,
yes.
It's actually becoming pretty wild now that I'm like getting more and more into musky fishing. It's if I have a day like that I'm not free fishing for a tournament or doing something specifically for the channel or bass fishing, I just have this insane urge to go out for musky.
So your first time...
It's like I don't even want to fish unless I'm fishing for musky. It's crazy.
So the first time you went out, how did this all happen? How did this musky stuff start with you?
So I was out on Burke Lake, which is like 30 minutes from my house, and it's the closest place that I'm aware of that has musky in it. Like 100% they stock it with musky every year. Mm-hmm. And I was out there bass fishing, like in the middle of winter. I saw this older gentleman out on a canoe just trolling around, and I saw him catch a musky. Probably like, I was like 100 yards away from it. It was so big I thought it was a carp when he pulled it up. I was like, dang, he just snagged a carp. That's wild. I got closer up to him, and his hand's all bloody. I'm like, hey, you okay? He's like, yeah, I just caught my second muskie today. He's like, he bit me. I was like, oh my god, that's insane. Like, he was trolling an Alabama rig and a flat stick.
Wow.
And he caught it on the Alabama rig.
Really?
And that's what I was throwing for bass all day. Yeah, he caught it on the Alabama rig.
Huh. That's too funny. And so ever since then, you just kind of dove in and just started exploring and all that stuff?
Yeah. For sure. So I told myself then, I was like, man, I really want to catch one now. So I decided, and I thought it would be kind of a fun series to go back to Burke Lake every week and just keep trying to catch one. And then I went to Burke Lake probably like 7 or 8 times, probably 7 times. And then I was like, I'm going to explore somewhere else. So someone told me about this hole on the Shenandoah. Uh-huh. And I went over there, and the first time I was there, I got a follow, which is the first time I've ever seen a muskie.
Oh,
I never saw one in Burke besides the guy catch one. Yeah. Oh, dude, I completely froze, too. I was so I was casting straight off the boat, and I was working my way into the current and bringing the lure down. I'm looking off to the left. I'm in about a foot of water fishing like a drop down into 20. And I'm looking over at this catfish, like a huge catfish sitting behind a rock. I was like, the lure's getting close to the boat, and I'm like, man, that's a pretty damn big catfish. And I look up at I was throwing a jointed X-Wrap with a big one.
Yep.
And then I see the shadow behind it, and I was like, "Oh my god! What do I do?" I just completely froze. Like the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do. I did that.
It still happens. It's all right. And then Dennis, right? Dennis started taking your places?
Yeah. Dennis reached out, and he, was telling me about the baits that he makes, and he fishes the Upper Potomac, and I was just like, all right, I gotta get out with Dennis. Like, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I've never fished with anyone who has actually gone out and targeted muskie, so I knew I'd get out regardless of catching the fish. If I did or not, I'd learn something. And the first time I went out with him, within the first hour and a half, I caught the 40-inch muskie, my second ever.
That's so sweet. I wish I had that luck. So sweet.
It was very much luck. It was insane. I mean, that's kind of changed it for me. I caught one prior to that, probably like 3 weeks earlier, and it was the first one I'd ever caught on the Shenandoah. It was probably a 30. I didn't measure it. I mean, my main goal was just to get in the net.
Yep, I remember.
Pull it out, get a picture, and put it right back.
Oh my god! I finally got one. Like after all these trips.
Yeah, nine trips, 60 hours.
Damn. So what's next? Are you going to be? I don't know. What's next with your musky fishing? Have you anything in mind? Do you plan on fishing any of the tournaments a little bit out more east, exploring a little bit more? What do you got planned for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said before, like I'm just really, really getting into this style of fishing, and I mean, bass fishing has always been my number one, and this is very quickly becoming up there with bass fishing for me. Like, if I'm not fishing a tournament for bass, like, I'd rather be musky fishing, almost.
That's too funny.
It's very close. So, absolutely going to be doing some exploring. We're planning, Dennis and I are kind of talking about a trip to the New River soon. We'll start doing some exploring out there. Just a lot, I have a lot kind of in the works, and working with Dennis fishing-wise, and other people too, but that's definitely my goal. I'd love to make it up your way too.
You gotta. I'm
do
telling
some
you.
fishing up there.
If you come where we go, it's northern Wisconsin does not look like anything you've seen before.
And that's another thing that I'm so excited about. I love fishing new waters, like fish or not. Like, I don't care if I catch one at all. I just like experiencing these new places and fishing with new people and learning. That to me is the biggest, most important thing about fishing, and actually in YouTube too.
Oh yeah.
Half the people that I fish with, actually more, I'd say like 90% of the people that I fish with now I've met through YouTube, and every single person has been awesome, genuine, like cool, down-to-earth people who just love to fish. And I would have never met these people if it weren't for this YouTube channel.
No. So how did SB fishing all begin? Was it just hey, I'm going to throw some videos out and see what happens? Or I know a lot of other people, especially bait makers, love to take videos of their baits. They love to, see people catch them on their baits and everything like that. And even just for myself, I would love to do that. Unfortunately, I sold my GoPro like an idiot, but whatever. How did you go about the process of starting that channel and developing an audience? And what was your strategy behind it?
So I guess in 2015, like the summer of 2015, my brother and I like kind of drifted away from fishing a little bit. I was playing poker full time, and I got rid of all my fishing gear, and I told myself I was going to get back into it later. And I moved around a bunch. I moved like 7 times in 7 years, and with all my fishing gear in the boat and everything, it was like so hard to move. So got rid of it all, and then finally started settling down last year. And my brother had just gotten back into fishing. Like, he was fishing every single day after work. And then obviously I tagged along, and I was like, all right, this is it. We're going to start getting back into it. Then one day he texted me, and he was like, dude, you have to check out these fishing videos on YouTube. And it was One Rod, One Reel. He sent me his link, and I was like watching these videos, and I was like, man, these are awesome. Like, this is very, very cool. And like, I'm sure the exact thing I was thinking was like, he probably meets a bunch of people, gets to fish a bunch of places. People don't normally get to fish. He learns a ton. So I was like, have a small editing or background in video editing. And I was like, man, we could probably do this. I was like, I can definitely make videos like this. So let's just give it a shot. So started getting back into fishing, like back in the flow of things. And then my roommate gave me his GoPro. He was like, here you go, dude. Like, I don't use this thing. Like, go ahead, take it, start, getting to work on your channel. Like, try to make some videos. So started going out and just, with one battery, filming for like an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, and then taking it home and trying to piece together edits. And then I one day just decided, like, okay, I'm going to kind of go all in. Like, I think I can do this. So, like, you know, got a second camera. Or Ace actually bought a second camera. We got, like, a bunch of batteries, like, external stuff to use, and bought a new laptop to edit, and basically just got everything together. And it was literally all in. I was like, hey, every time I go out fishing, I'm wearing a GoPro. I'm filming the entire trip.
I love that.
And we're going to try to get this done.
I tried to do that, and it just didn't work, and I just gave it to my buddy. I'm like, here, you wear this for the trip. I don't want to do this.
Yeah. It definitely takes away from fishing a little bit. No, I wouldn't say much. I mean, once you start getting in the flow of just having the camera on, switching the battery out, it takes me maybe, I probably spend a total of 10 minutes a day messing with the camera, which isn't much, if you're looking at a full, 8-10 hour day on the water.
No, not at all. Now, I didn't exactly look on your page, but do you have your gear on there for what you use?
I actually just started posting that in the description links, yes. So as far as the Musky gear goes...
Oh, no, I'm talking about
right now,
like camera gear, actually.
Camera gear. Yes, I do have that linked on there.
Okay.
So I have 2 GoPro Hero 3 Pluses. That's the old school one. It works perfectly fine. And then I have it's fine. I think it's flawless. There's really no issues with it. And then for the big camera, I use a Canon T6i with, for more of the vlogging stuff and stuff I'm filming, like on the boat, talking to the camera. It's a 10 to 18 millimeter wide angle lens.
Okay.
That's all I have. Nothing too extravagant.
How much does that cost?
I got it as a bundle, actually. So it was like a microphone, the camera, an SD card.
Yeah.
And might come with a couple other small things. It was $750.
Okay.
And then the extra lens was like $200.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's really not, it was definitely an investment, but
definitely.
To me, an important investment. It brings a lot of quality to the channel.
Yeah, I mean, that's thousands of dollars. Okay. Yeah, I just want to know that for personal reasons. I mean, I've been planning on getting back into possibly doing videos or whatnot, but I have the talk show. It's way easier. I'm way better on the computer, so I don't have to deal with a GoPro on my head or anything like that.
Right, yeah, I hear you. I mean, my word of advice I can give you is, like, just do it. Like, it's kind of a pain sometimes, but, I mean, it's well worth it in the end. And you can go back and you can rewatch every fish that you catch and then edit it all out however you want. Even if it's not for posting it on YouTube, even if it's for your own eyes, just something to have.
Yeah.
You learn a lot from watching yourself fish. Like, for bass fishing wise, I'm like, we can fish a stretch for 30 minutes, and during that 30 minutes, I'm not really I'm just fishing, and I could become complacent. And when I rewatch it, I'm like, wow, why was I doing that so long? You really, you learn a lot rewatching your day.
So, what I want to do for you is, like, get all these people to, like, just start inviting you to go musky fishing, because that'd be awesome, because I want, like, your edits with more muskies, because I love your edits.
Yeah. Thank you.
I want that. So, guys, everyone who's listening, go there, email, and be like, hey, come out here. Come sleep on my couch, and then, come musky fish with me in the morning. And then we're going to... My plan was to try to pass them around like a ping pong ball this summer and just, like, flop them around and just go musky fishing all summer. That's my dream.
That's cool with me. If you totally cool with me. If anyone wants to invite me out to fish, I'm more than happy to come out. Yeah, I really do enjoy fishing with new people and, learning as much as I can. And I think that's the best way to do it, is fishing with people, because everyone has their own style. Everyone has, their own tips and their own ways of catching fish, whether it's bass or musky or, redfish or tuna, whatever it may be. Everyone kind of has their own style, and I think that's the best way to learn.
So, I talked to you a little bit, but you do plan on coming out this way for an expo, right?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that to me, and I would love to come out there and do that. I mean, it'd be awesome.
So they start, guys, when does the Chicago one start? I think that starts... I forgot. I think that's the first one of the year. It's usually February, January-ish. That's when the season, the expo is. Here we go, Paul. So Paul's a guy that I sponsor, the Musky Mutts in Illinois, their musky fishing team. And he's asking editing software. Is there something easy for cheap action cameras like a Vivitar? I'm pretty sure that every editing software is capable with any camera, right, Matt?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
As long as yeah, for sure. You can get the file from the camera onto your computer. You should be able to upload it to any editing software, any at all.
Now, what editing software do you use?
I use Adobe Premiere.
Okay, so you use the crazy, technical. Okay.
Yeah, I do, but honestly, I just started using it in January. So I guess, I started using it in January, and I told myself I was not going to edit another video on iMovie. I completely just deleted it from my computer. I bought Adobe Premiere, and I sat down, and I told myself, like, you're not getting up until you finish this 10-minute edit and learn how to use it.
For someone who just the weekend warrior fishing video guy, software, what's a good, easy, cheap, preferably free software for people to use to edit their videos together?
iMovie. Hands down. I mean, if you have a Mac, if you have an Apple computer, use iMovie. It is extremely user-friendly. You can do much more than the program you would think you could do with the program. It's free. You have an iTunes account. Like, it's awesome.
What if you are a person like me who doesn't like Apple, and you have a PC?
If you don't like Apple, I'm honestly not too familiar with Windows Movie Maker, but I do have a couple friends who use that.
Okay.
And they're they're the same kind of deal. They weekend video makers, so weekend warrior kind of deal, and they use Windows Movie Maker, and I mean they do a great job with it. I think that's probably another good one. They're all really similar. You have your timeline, you have your spot where you keep all your clips.
It's just practice,
you have your
right?
editing tools.
I mean, getting familiar. It's just getting familiar and comfortable with the program, no matter how difficult.
100%.
Okay.
Exactly. It can be, the GoPro Studio or Adobe Premiere, and they're both literally like the exact same thing. You just have to figure out where everything is, and that's kind of the learning curve of them all. And obviously with Premiere, you can do much, much more. Like for me, I am very basic. I've barely scratched the surface on Premiere, and the edits that I make are like, I could almost do them on iMovie. There's just a couple small things up here that I can do that I cannot do within iMovie.
1 second. So, Paul, I hope that answered your question, buddy. Why is this person... Oh. I'm sorry. I was helping this guy out. He was asking me about Musky, beginning Musky stuff. He's actually out in, like, your area, out east in New York. And I'm like, interesting. So, is there a lot of other musky anglers out in that area? Like, have you ran across other people while you're fishing for muskies that are also fishing for muskies?
Personally, no, I haven't. I mean, I've met up with Dennis. He's actually from up in Pennsylvania, though, so even that, he's probably like 3 hours away from me, 3 hours north.
Okay.
I have never really met anyone in my direct area.
Okay.
Except that one old dude that trolls Burke Lake on his canoe.
Yeah.
By him, that's it. Friends of friends have people that fish for muskie on the Upper Potomac as well, but I've never personally met them.
Okay.
Really not something people target. I'd say bass fishing, snakehead, catfish are like the main target species where I'm from.
Stripers.
Striper as well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous of stripers. I don't think we have those.
Yeah, they're fun. They're a lot of fun.
We have white bass. I mean, you can catch 1,000 of them. I mean,
yeah,
that's what we got.
That's fun too. I mean, you get into a big school of those. I mean, catching fish in general is just awesome, regardless of size. As long as you're getting into them. But
it is. It really is.
Yeah, the chase for the muskie is just probably the most intense of any fish I've ever. For sure, it's the most intense. So I understand why. When I started the whole thing, people were telling me, they're like, dude, you're going to get addicted to this real quickly. And I was kind of, like, okay.
Yeah,
well,
okay. Yeah, just wait.
And now I completely get it.
Just wait till you see that frickin' thing following your bait and then just shout at boat side. Just wait till you get a figure 8 strike, dude.
That's what I'm waiting for. And that's what I'm most excited for.
Especially in, like, stained water where they just come out of nowhere. It's, you might clench up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure. I know I will, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not gonna
I
lie,
can't wait for that. Like,
cause we got gin clear water out in my area. Not gin clear, but pretty clear. You can see a follow from half your cast distance away, and there's a couple lakes that we fish that are a little murky. And I'm like, oh man, dude, I'm trying not to crap my pants today. I don't want something just to explode on my rod, dude, because I know I'm gonna scream like a little girl.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I can't even imagine having one up at the boat, getting it into the 8. Like, that is just something that I'm really looking forward to. And I say that because I'm not going to stop this. I'm not going to stop musky fishing until that happens. Like, I'm never going to stop now, but you know what I mean? Like, that's something that I'm very much looking forward to.
But now I got this one buddy of mine. His name's Greg, lanky, tall, mother effer. For some reason, he gets every fish on the 8. Like, if they're coming in, granted, he's lost all of them due to me messing up the net job, his rod getting stuck underneath the boat, or stuff like that. But definitely, those long rods make the widest figure 8 you can, and that's my only tip I'm going to give on musky fishing, because I don't really catch them a lot. Stay tuned for Lee, the next, and we'll ask him a question or whatnot. But those wide 8s are definitely important for those big fish.
Okay, for sure. I'm going to keep practicing those as much as possible. I mean, every time I'm out, I try to get better and better and more comfortable doing it. It's to the point now where when I'm bass fishing, I'm basically going in, almost naturally going into the figure 8. Like, if I'm doing a spinnerbait or a crankbait, get it up to the boat, I'm like, oh man, I didn't figure 8 that cast.
Like, I caught a trout on a figure 8 once, and a walleye on a figure 8 once.
That's insane.
They'll still smallmouth.
It probably will happen bass fishing.
Probably. I mean, I got smallies in a river, not on a lake, but in a river till I was wacky worming, and just kept wacky worming around my body, and he hit because we were wet in the river. So it'll happen.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I don't know. What do you have any questions about musky fishing that hopefully me or some of the viewers can answer? Anything that you're like, dude, what happened? What is this, or whatever?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, so Dennis, myself, and another one of Dennis's buddies were out this past week.
Okay.
We were on the Upper Potomac. We were out on Friday. The night before, it rained a bunch, so water was a little bit stained. It wasn't super dirty, but it was stained.
Okay.
And it was rising. So we didn't realize this until we got back to the ramp, but the water went up probably 2 feet, 3 feet maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you're fishing a river for muskie, post-frontal conditions as well. What are your tactics? Yeah, post-frontal conditions, what are you going to be throwing? We did reach out on Muskie Flea Market. People are saying to downsize, make your baits a little bit more natural.
Oh, yeah. How do you like the flea market?
Oh, it's awesome. I just got, you actually hooked me up last week.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I've been super busy. I haven't had much time to browse all of them, but I see them pop up. They're I have the automatic notifications, so whenever I open Facebook, I'm seeing sales for new lures and posts. Very cool.
Post-frontal conditions, river, rising river, little stained. The only river we really fish out here is kind of a smaller river, and we prefer it to be a little higher.
Right.
Just because there's some cover that I know that, they're fallen trees. As soon as the water raises a certain amount, I know that fish are going to be there. It's a great ambush spot. Otherwise, if it's low, it's going to be easier to catch because there's only a few deep holes. But
right.
You got to walk a long distance between the deep holes, so that's kind of a pain in the butt. But that's a post-frontal. Good. Do you pay attention to the lunar calendar at all? For the majors and minors?
Yes, we do. And actually, we were fishing we fished through a minor, and then I had to leave for work at about 2, but Dennis fished through the major. It was 2 to 4, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, definitely pay attention to those. I found on one of our lakes out here, personally for me, all my successes come in the minors, and only the minors.
Okay.
No majors.
Oh, interesting.
So pay attention to your specific lake or river, and be okay, they're usually more active on the first minor than the second minor, and they don't really strike on the majors. Like I said, personal experience on one specific body of water that just gets super pressure and everything. But
Right, right.
Listeners, what would you chuck? Post frontal, rising river, stained. I mean, you're going to have to cover more water because there's going to be, like I said, there's not going to be deep holes. So I wouldn't do anything, slow moving.
Right.
Just to cover more water. Have someone throwing natural. Have someone throwing bright. Start with that. I mean, I'm a bucktail and glide bait guy, so that's all I really throw.
Did you say bucktail and glider?
Yeah, that's all I throw, personally. And
Gotcha.
Rubber everywhere.
I mean, I love throwing a bucktail. To be honest, it's like my. I just like kind of the run and gun style of fishing for these fish.
And it works. It does work.
That's my last two fish. One was on the Musky magnet, and then the last was on the CCB.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. Definitely just keep posting questions on, all the forums. It doesn't look like anyone has any input on that right now. But you'll get an answer. And again, who knows? Maybe they want freaking a fluorescent orange topwater for some stupid reason. I don't know. They're muskies.
Yeah.
But personally, I would start off with just a light and a dark and go from there. And just cover water.
That's pretty much what we were doing. I mean, we were throwing just a bunch of different bucktails, different colors, different sizes. Dennis was throwing the jerk bait around a bit. I threw glide bait around a bit.
Okay.
It could have just been, the day. It was a tough day.
So we got last question, and then I'm going to ask you the ritual last question. Went to a seminar at one of the sports shows. In the end, don't change your lures as much. So that's something I'm working on. Because I do love just chucking a whole tackle box, but that's something I'm working on. So, be like, hey, we're going to, throw these two bucktails for like an hour and nothing happens. Let's switch them up a little bit. But that's just something that I just listened to earlier this winter. But before you go, Matt, funniest boat launch story. What do you got?
Funny boat launch story. Okay, so my brother and I were coming off of the Potomac. We were at Gravelly Point, right by Ronald Reagan Airport on the Upper Potomac, or not Upper Potomac, but right in the D.C. area.
Okay.
So you have a bunch of pleasure boats, people, weekend warriors, people that just literally have brand new boats and are taking them out. We're pulling up to the ramp, and this probably 27 to 30 foot huge like cabin boat was getting trailered out.
Oh boy.
And I see him put it up on the trailer, and then the guy starts pulling the boat, huge boat, out of the water, and it's on rollers. He didn't clip the front. And my brother and I are like yelling at him. We're like, hey, clip it. You got to clip that. Clip the boat, clip the boat, clip the boat. And as soon as the guy gets out of his truck, it comes off the trailer, slides, 3/4 of the way down the ramp back towards the water.
Oh,
it was a brand new boat.
Oh,
it sucked. I mean, we were like, dude, how did you, what are you thinking? And we don't think he forgot. We just thought he thought that it'd be okay. Maybe he'd had a previous boat with, normal carpeted bunks where the boat is generally going to be okay. It's not even a very steep ramp, but if you have rollers at all, the boat is going to go off.
Oh, man. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurt pretty bad. Felt pretty bad for the guy. Tried to help him, but...
Yeah, it's an expensive lesson. Jeez. Ugh. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Matt. Such short notice. And, guys, hit up Matt. Take him out fishing, because then you get cool edits of musky fishing. I mean...
I'll try my best. And, hey, thank you for having me on the show. It was awesome.
Not a problem, man. Stick around and ask him some questions, because we got Lee coming on. He'll be able to answer some way better than I can. So, all right, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll talk to you later, bud.
Take it easy, man. Thanks again. See ya.
Bye. So that was Matt. Cool guy. Every musky adventure he's went on, he's actually filmed it. I just think it's something cool. Something cool and something I wish I had the patience to do that. I don't. So, next up, Mr. Lee Tauchen. learn about some Madison, some Lee lures, some today's anglers.
Hello, this is Lee.
Hey, Lee, it's Colin from Musky Talk.
Hey, how are ya?
Oh, not too bad. How you doing?
Doing well.
Nice, nice. Did you go up north this, where'd you go for the opener?
I was on Green Bay, or Fox River, just for opening day, and that was it. Fished from about 5:30 in the morning till about 5 at night.
Nice, nice. Did you catch any? I heard you got one, right?
We got one and lost one, and had one other close call, and those were the only fish we had action from. 3 fish, and none of them were over 40 inches.
Really, that's surprising in that area. Do you think that they're moving out a little bit quicker with these warmer temperatures, or what do you think?
I don't think so. There was still. I talked to a couple guys that saw some bigger ones paddling around,
Okay.
and I know there was some nice fish caught out there. It sounded like yesterday, or last night. It sounded like some night fish last night. So
Okay, cool, awesome. Well, it's just the beginning, at least for up north, so that ain't too bad. All right.
right, no doubt.
So, biggest question. I tie my own bucktails, and I just want to get your idea. What got you into making your own lures?
Well, pretty much it came down to one day. It must have been, it was during the winter of '98. It would have been. My mom says, "Say, Lee, all the fishing lures out there. How come you don't have your own lure? Why don't you come up with something?" Well, that afternoon, I went to Menards, picked up a coat hanger rod, and I had just a coping saw and a wood file, and that's where the Top H2O was invented, the winter of '98, '99.
Yeah.
And didn't throw it until, let's see, I made the bait in January roughly, and I didn't throw the bait until August.
Oh, wow.
Had no confidence in it.
No.
So I had it the whole season, or most of the season. And I was fishing with Jay Essie from Raleigh and Helen's Musky Shop.
Yep.
And he had raised a fish earlier, I think was on a top raider, went back to it, and the fish didn't bite. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try my bait since we know where a fish is. The very first cast I ever made with it, I caught a fish on it.
Did you retire it after then? Were you like, all right, I'm done, or what did you do with it?
Oh, definitely not. Would you have?
Probably not. No. That's too cool.
Yeah,
That's
caught
cool.
one other fish on it and missed another on it that same day. So that's where it started for me.
And then you had all the confidence in that bait.
Oh, absolutely. Until it fell apart because I didn't even drill the holes for the hook hangers and the bait cracked in half.
Oh my god. That's too funny.
Oh, well.
And so obviously you made many more baits. You didn't perfect anything because no one perfects anything. Always something new to learn, but have greatly made leaps and bounds in the pelagic now. Where did that guy come from?
Well, that's fairly obvious comparison to the headlock or matlock.
Yep.
The first time I ran a matlock, it took about 10 minutes to get a fish on. I was like, wow, this is something different.
Wow.
And, so I give my props to whoever came up with the pin design. I've heard various rumors of this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. But at any rate, whoever came up with it did something cool. And, yes, I did. I guess I pirated that, but, put my own, the pin definitely. But different lip, a lot different action of the bait. And, of course, the shad body style and whatnot. But first fish I caught on that bait was a 52 by 27 on Green Bay. So that definitely gave me confidence real quick.
Oh, man. If only all my baits could pull off those awesome casts or trolls or fish. That'd be amazing. Wow.
For sure.
That's pretty sweet. So your big new thing, Today's Angler. What? How did that come about? Just hey, let's do it. There's a void that maybe we can fill. What's up?
Well, about 5 years ago, I had a show on Fox Sports North that was called Big Fish 365,
Yep.
and was partnered up with Eric Hadia at the time, and had some pretty good success. And Eric and I just ended up going different ways. He went to North American Fisherman, and I kind of just put it on the back burner, but I had always wanted to continue that. And finally, here we are with the YouTube cranking so well,
Yep.
and not having to pay the networks, $25,000 to $50,000, depending on what you're looking for. Might as well get it rolling again, and stick the stuff on YouTube so the whole world can watch.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love that. I absolutely love that. I want more people to do it, and I want to do it myself. But I like I was saying earlier, it's not really my thing. But so how long is that season going to run for? Is that going to be an all-year thing? I mean, you started off with big gator fishing out in Madison.
Yes, it's going to be, and actually we have not completely committed to it, but at this point we're working on being on every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central Time.
Okay.
Some kind of footage, some kind of, whether it's a vlog-style show or a complete episode. We're kind of really going to have a widespread of variety of material. The Pike episode, the first one, that was, kind of more of the little fancier editing and done up a little bit like a traditional show. And then the last Green Bay show, we just did the Fox River that debuted last week, actually a week ago yesterday. They had a real good response. Obviously, Musky is my forte.
Well, I liked it. I mean, besides putting the smackdown on the fish, I personally don't think you need all that fancy edits just to make a good show. I mean, they help, but you don't really need it. I loved it, to be honest with you.
No, definitely not. But I'm kind of perfectionist. You look at my baits or whatever, and I try to. I kind of have the. I don't know. I enjoy a good edit, and I think we can have our best footage, and finally tune the edit of our best footage, and then we can have just the GoPro on the shoulder type thing. Everything.
Yeah, I'll watch it. You post it, I'll watch it for sure. Definitely.
Cool. Well, we appreciate that, and if everyone can subscribe, that's really the key to making this thing roll here.
Yes, guys, go to YouTube, Today's Angler. You'll find it, trust me. Or excuse me, Lee's Facebook or anything. Today's Angler. Check them out. Great videos. Obviously, great host. They're going to catch fish. They're going to tell you some stuff. Listen to them. Also, Lee.
And we've got some more Musky footage in the works too.
Oh, of course. You have to. I mean, come on now. I wouldn't expect anything less from you. So, Madison, how was your opener? I heard you got a couple.
We did get a couple. Fished the first hour opening morning, and had a couple gentlemen from Texas that had never seen a muskie, and we had a 35 and a 39 incher, and we just fished a half day morning, and the fish were taken on really small twitch baits.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was pretty much it.
We were out there with Adam from Madtown, and we raised a couple and lost one at the boat, and small twitch baits the same. That was my first time fishing the Madison chain. And what is it like Okachi and Pewaukee out here during the summer with all the pleasure boaters and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's not quite as bad, but
okay.
It's definitely it has its moments.
Okay, so when does that lake sort of start to heat up?
Usually right now, Memorial Weekend.
Okay, so this is kind of go
This
time.
is typically, I actually have my first target muskie trip tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Actually, we were not targeting muskies. I was targeting whatever bites, pretty much opening morning. But So pretty much Memorial Weekend, these fish do not get going real quick, real early. You know, it's yes, you can have a good day here and a good day there, but by and large, it's really tough fishing for the first 2-3 weeks of the season. As far as, you know, consistently catching them, you just got to have good weather rolling for you to get them going.
Now, good weather, do you mean like post fronts or certain wind direction or anything like that?
Warming trends.
Warming trend, okay.
Warming trend, yeah.
Perfect.
Otherwise, there's just you know, most of the fish are out in open water right now. The guys, you know, I have hardly even heard of, I could count the number of fish 45 plus inches caught since opening day on one hand that I know of. You know, obviously there's definitely more.
Yeah.
But
okay.
They're out deep. That's where they are. They're out deep. It's the same thing. You go to Lake Vermilion in late June, early July. There's a lot of fish out suspending. It's the same thing.
So is there a jig bite out there? I know I don't really jig that much for muskies, but is that something that's been, I know it's been taken off a little bit more. Is that what people do maybe out there nowadays?
No, a lot more trollers here. It hasn't taken the jigging technique hasn't quite caught on like it has, say, Lake Pewaukee has, you know, really caught on pretty strong.
Yeah.
It's definitely works. We've got a video we just posted yesterday or day before on our YouTube channel of a 44-incher we caught jigging in deeper water, smallmouth fishing. You have to check the video out. It's pretty funny. The fish.
I saw it. Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, he didn't catch it with a rod or reel. You guys got to go watch it if you want to see a muskie get caught without a rod and reel. The aftermath of it. Today's Angler. Go check it out.
8-pound test line.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That's too funny. I saw him like, what the hell? Oh boy.
Yeah, I wish we'd had the camera rolling the whole time, but you know how it is.
Of course. Oh well. Maybe it'll happen again in your lifetime. Maybe.
Yeah.
So, on the Madison Chinks, I definitely want to fish a little bit more of that. That's pretty much, I'll go a little bit farther west for a full day of fishing, but is there a certain color pattern that you like to use out there? Specific?
Mostly whites and fire tigers.
Is that because of forage base, or is that just what you found through that works?
I don't know. I'm like the last guy to ask on color. And that's my worst statement I could make for selling my own baits. But give me something white, and I'm usually happy. Okay. I don't know.
That's fair.
Simple. They do eat a lot of sheephead here, so I'm told.
Really?
So, you know, that's a good representation. They're slow and they're dumb and they're all over the place. So
yeah, that makes sense. Easy meal, big meal. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly whites in the clear water, and then you know, fire tiger stuff once we get some color.
And then when do you start getting like the algae bloom out there? And does it get bad?
Yeah, it definitely gets bad. Usually it's like third week of June. Okay. Sometime, you know, end of the second week to first week of July. That kind of 2-3 week window in there, it usually blooms up.
Now, when I was out there, like I said, opening weekend, there's not a lot of weeds, and I'm not sure. Have you fished Oconomowoc Lake at all?
I have, yes.
And you know how it's just not many weeds? Is that how we were on Monona? Is that how Monona is? I saw emerging weeds, but I couldn't exactly tell if they're going to stop, or is it more dry?
Oh, no, they're coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah, some of that milfoil will come to the surface, actually, later on.
So I should get out there within the next 3 weeks to have some clear water, fish going, some weeds. This is the time.
With as late as everything's going now, I would say we'll be good definitely through July 4th unless some crazy hot spell comes.
That's perfect. That is perfect. So you run your guide service. Go to leetauchen.com.
20 years.
20 years. Wow, really? That long?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was quick.
Wow. And primarily in the Madison chain?
Yes. Yep. I used to do a lot in Minnesota, and now I'm only doing about 6 weeks a year in Minnesota. I used to be there 4.5 months a year, but kind of done with that lifestyle a little bit, a little more closer to home, and working on this YouTube thing. So,
is this your main thing right now? Obviously, besides guiding, but and the baits. But your main focus is going to be on the today's angler.
Guiding as well too. Yeah, that's still my main source of income.
Okay.
And our YouTube only been on for 6 weeks now is not exactly going to pay the bills for a while, but we're working on it. So and then the lure business, of course.
Okay. And of course, you go to all the expos. Do you know when Chicago is actually, roughly?
It's usually that first end of the first week of January there.
Okay, so Matt, if you're listening, end of the first week of January, that's when Chicago starts and goes up for about a month. I think into March, right? Into some of the Canadian and Minnesota ones. But
yeah.
Okay. So, where do you guide in Minnesota?
Mille Lacs is where I've spent the most time, but I've been known to bounce around to other waters like Vermilion and the Bemidji Cass and
Okay.
some of those waters like that. So
Now, is it a different style of fishing out there?
oh, definitely a lot bigger baits, as an average for sure.
I noticed that, and I've heard that it's different fishing. I'm like, oh, I don't know exactly what that means. Obviously, I know they love their big bucktails and pounders.
Yeah.
Is that something that we won't see in Wisconsin just because, like, the prevalence of everyone chucking pounders, like on St. Clair and out in Vermilion and everything like that? Is that something that we can see being a actual viable fish putting in the boat tactic?
Oh, definitely, but just nowhere near with the consistency, just being because, on the metro milfoil panfish forage lakes that we fish here, in southern part of the state, they're just eating small food. And you go to Mille Lacs and they're eating 18-inch Cisco's. So that's kind of the main difference,
So it's just their forage base. That's the biggest difference.
I think so. And the fish are, of course, bigger, too. So that sure falls into it, too.
Is that just because of the different strain?
Yeah,
Because
hard to say. That's a good argument.
You got Leech Lake strain in Madison, correct?
We do, yes, and they're starting to knock on really close to 50 inches now. I've heard of fish up to 48 and a half so far, and they've been in here, I think, 7.5 years. I want to say.
So a couple more years, and they'll be at that 50.
Should be, yeah.
Now, what other strain is in the Madison chain? Just a Wisconsin River?
Yeah, just, I think over the years it's various mutt species, where they've, blended them together and whatnot. I think it's like quality deer management and genetics. I think I'm no biologist by any means, but big parents seem to produce big offspring. And that's the one thing we found on Mille Lacs was a really interesting case study to where a lot of they've been for 4 years, 84 through 88, they put Wisconsin barred muskies in Mille Lacs.
Okay.
And those fish came from a 56-inch female brood fish. And those fish got gigantic. Of course, the lake has a lot to do with it, too, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes you wonder.
Like how gigantic? Are we talking like upper 50s or?
Quite a few mid 50s. Yeah, 54 to 56 inches.
Wow.
And the Scotties typically weigh a little more too, because they're a little heavier in the tail section. The spots tend to have more of a pot belly and don't carry it quite through all the way in general.
Okay. So you've never caught a spot
as an average,
or Leech Lake?
Oh wow! So yeah, obviously you haven't made it to Minnesota.
No, I'm new. I'm 2 years in. Oh yeah,
okay.
I'm new. It just started pretty much. So
right on.
It's up there. It's up there on my list. When, where, I don't know, but it's definitely up there and experience that, and also go over to Canada, and of course go over to, Kentucky and St. Clair and all the world-renowned spots. But start off here. Home waters, just the old Waukesha area, but.
Well, there's some good fish down there, definitely. But
yes.
They're tough. They get fished hard.
They really, really do. Do you have any tips that people should maybe look into for those lakes in this area?
I think probably the biggest thing is learning to fish deeper, which guys have really, caught on to, it seems like, even more in the last number of years. Yeah, jigging, trolling, suspended fishing, that type. And really, some of the new baits that have come out the last couple of years, like the Bondi kind of started it, the Chaos Tackle, Poseidon, a deep running, a swim bait you could run deep. Mm-hmm. When I say deep, I say 10 to 15 foot with ease, 10 to 15 down.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest thing musky fishermen as a whole are missing out on, is fishing baits deeper.
Now, do those fish stay out there and come in shallow to feed, or do they actually go out there? I mean, Okachi has a big Cisco population. I don't believe Pewaukee does, but there are fish out deep. Do they travel in shallow to eat and then go back out, or have you?
I think it's the opposite.
So
I think they do their eating out deep.
Huh. Okay.
And they do their sitting and digesting up shallow, and we just, cast shallow and we trigger them because they're muskies.
Okay. So, guys.
And there's definitely times that they eat shallow too, obviously.
Oh yeah, it's not a one, system thing for these fish. They're smart or they're stupid. One of the two, or we're smarter and stupid. I don't know, but deeper. Okay, interesting. Have you ever any?
The other thing people miss out on is not throwing top water.
Really?
Top water can be amazingly deadly, especially on huge fish. And people have a hard time fishing slow. That's another thing.
It is. Like your flaptail. My buddy's got one. I love that thing.
That thing is cheating. I mean, really, in all honesty, I've never seen anything like it.
It's there's a couple out there, not many, and not the ones I've seen out there. They're not that cheap either, but that's a lure that you're saying maybe, hey, go chuck something like that, a little bit slower top water action.
Yeah, and whatever brand of top water, just throwing it to working a bait like that slower is definitely a trigger. Obviously, guys do real well sucker fishing. Okay, well, obviously that's live bait, but think about how slow you fish suckers typically. There's instances where muskies just will not chase a bait, and obviously if they're hitting an artificial, they think it's real. So if you can move that thing even slower, think about what you could, have happen to it.
So season-wide, like across the seasons, try fishing slower. Are you a fan of burning bucktails, or do you tend?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
What the great thing about having 3 people in the boat is, we can do 3 different things and switch off and whatever. But I'm usually the guy in the back throwing the slow top water, and that way I can recognize, okay, if this is working, then we can swap everybody out to a technique like that.
Okay. So front guys fishing a little bit faster, you're following up the rear with a little bit slower presentation. Seeing what happens, seeing what works. Okay. Now, we had a question earlier from Matt, who was on earlier. Do you fish rivers that much?
Not recent years, but I had, growing up, spend a lot of time river fishing.
So when the water's on the rise and it's getting a little dirty, in that case, would you tend to fish slower or even fish faster?
I'd say, what time of year would probably be the first thing I would think about?
A week ago.
Yeah, I would say, I would say fishing slower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we got a question.
Thoroughly. Fish spots thoroughly.
Is fish known fishy spots a little bit slower, more for thoroughly? Okay.
Thorough, yes. That's probably the biggest thing I could, you think of being on Monona or Wabisa here, or any of our pressured lakes or whatever, and you got 10 boats going down the weed line, and the 11th boat catches one.
Yep.
Why is that?
Maybe fishing a little bit slower. Maybe the right time. In reality,
Timing.
Timing. It's always about
Something.
timing. Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a question: big or small topwaters? What do you think?
I like ones that fit in their mouth.
Okay.
Probably best because they hook the best.
Okay.
But definitely something bigger will get their attention more, especially under rougher conditions. So my topwater size is usually dictated by the amount of chop.
Okay, that makes sense. Because you still want to be able to hear it and have the fish hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. So there you go, Nick. Get that one out of the way. So, what are your plans for this year, Lee? Today's Angler, every week something out. You coming out? Do you have any Black Ops lead lures in the closet that you're working on?
Yeah, I was epoxying new stuff today.
Uh-oh.
And a handful of select people will have them in their hands in the next week. So that's about all I can say on that, other than, I got a couple things in the works. Today's Angler YouTube channel, for sure have stuff out every week, and we're pushing to have stuff up 3 times a week.
Okay.
So that's we had 3 things out in the past week, so
yep.
That's our goal, is what we're working towards here.
So I got to go back. Timeline for release to the public for the Black Ops bait. Do you have that in mind yet or no?
Not positive. Most likely Chicago 18.
Perfect. So show season.
I might do a sprinkle here and there prior to. I'm not going to rule that out.
Okay. All right. So the final question before I let you go, Lee, your funniest boat launch experience.
Yeah, where do you start? At Fish Madison here.
Right.
I mean, it's, I can't, any one thing is not really coming to mind other than the fact I just feel so bad for ladies that just get screamed at by their husbands that cannot, move the, hold the boat right, or they have them back the truck up, and it's just like, oh my gosh, how could you do that to anybody that's never back? I don't know. I'm not coming up with one particular. Afraid I don't have a one that sticks out in the top of my head right now. But
oh boy. All right, fair enough. But yeah, those women, we had Mike Kep on, and he's told a story about that exact same thing. Oh boy. Well, Lee, thanks so much, guys. Check out today's Anglers. Definitely stay tuned to Lee Lures. There's going to be something popping out for show season. And again, every show I say this next show season is going to be a crazy one. I'm going to have to bring a lot more money. So thanks for coming on, Lee, and congratulations on today's Angler success and upcoming on all that stuff.
Cool, that sounds good. I appreciate you having me on, Colin. Thank you. Thanks for everybody else tuning in.
I'll talk to you later, Lee.
All right, take care.
Bye. So, guys, more Black Ops baits. We got Black Ops baits. I don't think I can pry it out of Lee, though. We're just going to have to wait for that one. Damn it. Oh, well. So, I hope you learned something today. Got to talk editing and filming with Matt. Get a little new guy's perspective of musky fishing. Check him out. Invite him fishing. Like I said, you get some cool edits. And Lee, of course, Madison, chuck some white, go a little deeper. Can do that. Said till about early July. So I definitely plan on getting out there within the next couple weeks. Again, today's Angler, Lee Lures. I'm not a troller, but if I was a troller, I'd get a pelagic for sure. LeeTauchen.com. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'll let you guys know about who's on for next week. Any questions, any requests, send me a message, and we'll do something. Thanks, you guys, and Muskies are open. All Wisconsin, all open. Now we're just waiting for Minnesota, I believe. I think that's next week. I mean, I don't know when Canada is, but whatever. So, all right. Adios.